Hey beautiful people, welcome back to the With Love Cole YouTube channel. Here you'll find tons of videos on my wellness journey, motherhood, human design information, and so much more. My life starting a new family, as well as my postpartum journey, and what it's like to live as a human design 3/5 self-projected projector. I share guidance from the lived experience, and I also make sea moss at my apothecary, Cole Apothecary. Stay in touch with me at With Love Cole on all platforms and withlovecole.com. Hey my loves, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute, but on today's video, I really want to cover a very important topic, and that is safety tips when you are postpartum and a new mom. And the only reason that this topic is so near and dear to my heart is because during my time postpartum, I went through some life experiences that made me know this is very, very crucial and important, not just for your own health and longevity and well-being and all that, but also for your child's. So I have my notes as always. Indie mode. I have my notes as always to help you guys just know some do's and don'ts as a postpartum mom and as a new mom. So for my first do and don't, I would say don't stay close to people you are unsure of. And this could be people that have been in your life for a really long time. But if you have a level of unsurety, if you feel like you have to operate with a closed heart around them, they may not be a safe space for you as a new parent. It's really important to be around people, places, and things that make you feel safe, especially emotionally. During postpartum, you're going through a lot of hormonal changes and also a lot of dysregulation to your nervous system, because children naturally bring a lot of chaos energy. And that is not just me saying that, that's literally a rule of quantum physics, chaos theory, right? So with that being said, don't keep people near to you that you are unsure of. Do have people you feel your best around. So as a postpartum mom, I felt really, really good having my spouse around, especially when I saw that he was operating in a space of empathy, checking in on me, nurturing me. That's super, super important. And also, I looked for these qualities within friendships, within community. Having midwives and doulas was extremely important for me during my postpartum journey. And I felt like because I had that support and that love and care, I was able to move through those difficult emotional times. Don't force old habits if they are causing more negative interactions and interference. So as you guys know, if you watch my channel, I talk a lot about human design, and one of the elements of human design and also just understanding astrology and esoteric study is being able to understand the human wheel of life and life cycles. And when we understand this, we are able to know that motherhood is called matrescence, which is basically a journey to becoming a new person. During motherhood, it's almost like going through puberty again, and you need to be able to feel supported and loved during that time, but you also need to be able to do this for yourself. And part of that is taking care of yourself. And we take care of ourselves by understanding the role we are now playing in this new role of motherhood. And we also understand our new needs, because sometimes our old habits and behaviors that helped us self-soothe once before are not going to serve us. It's actually going to cause more interference as a mom. So I will give you guys an example. So as a new mom, I really love staying up late and scrolling on my phone, because I felt like this was an opportunity during my feeding cycles with my baby that I would be able to just still connect and feel like I'm a part of planet Earth with you guys. So I would spend some time late at night scrolling my phone, and although I felt connected at that point, I would wake up groggy or not get the rest and recuperation I needed to be back in that cycle of feeding and diaper changes and all of that. So at some point, it was really important for me to start focusing on self-care that helped me get rest. So I gave up the doom scrolling and I replaced it with melatonin. And by doing so, and chamomile tea also. And by doing so, I was able to get back into better sleep cycles, wake up feeling refreshed, and also, even though I felt overwhelmed sometimes with all the tasks I had, I still felt way more rested, because as much as we want to move through bodily discomforts or physical tiredness, you cannot move through that. So you can't like doom scroll and then be like, don't worry, I'll have coffee in the morning. Eventually it's gonna catch up to you. And although I don't mind some coffee in the morning, I also will do that as an act of self-care because I genuinely love the taste of it. And I'm not anti-mom drinking coffee. I'm for moms prioritizing what is best for them. And sometimes coffee is good, but are you doing the other things to help yourself get to sleep or get more rest before going for the coffee? That's what I'm here to challenge you with. So that was my don't, right? So the next is, do find ways to still enjoy things you love, be innovative and not deprecative. So by enjoying things you love, you can innovate them. I consider myself to some degree a canna mom, and by doing that, I had to change my relationship with it. And that meant moving from smoking or even vaping, some moms may do that, to move into edibles and things that were going to be more beneficial for my body. And also do what works for you. This is not a video judging anyone for their choices. We all are doing the best we can to regulate our nervous system, but know that you can be innovative. Maybe you can make yourself some brownies, and especially if you enjoy chocolate, that's a great way to intake as opposed to wanting to intake and it's not necessarily the right time or space. And also don't beat yourself up for it, because that's the point of not being deprecative. When we beat ourselves up, we're more likely to make more decisions that keep us in bad habits or negative thought patterns that keep that feedback loop going. And then we actually try to not nourish ourselves at all or not give ourselves what we need. And that is going to be more harmful in the end, because then you end up in a shame cycle. And when we're in a shame cycle, we're naturally more likely to now be in addictive patterns. So I would always say find support groups. With that in particular, I would highlight Blunt Blowin' Mama. I actually really love her page. She gives a lot of support to new moms. And she did an article recently in the Huffington Post, which was stellar. So I'm gonna also try to remember to link it down below, but just check that out if that is your journey. Another don't have patio spaces and other unfenced areas available to small kids. This is a big don't. At the beginning of my journey as a new mom, I did see articles about kids drowning in pools that were unfenced. So if you have water in your area and in your backyard, please make sure that you keep it fenced or keep some type of lock on your door so that you can protect yourself, protect your child, and your eyes should be always on them during this time. So here's a do. Do create specific areas of playtime and activity for your littles. Sensory play is really important. It's the way kids explore their world. And as I speak about in Human Design, the first 7 years of a child's life should be dedicated to play, because that's how kids can find out what is going to serve them best and also what they're passionate about innately. And gate 25 in Human Design is the gate of innocence and wonder. And it's also a reminder that innocence is our natural nature. So when you allow children play and spaces they can be truly innocent and just explore, they are going to come into who they are meant to be. Don't let people tell you what education style is best for your child. It's always great to take suggestions, but it's really, really important for you to actually be present with your child and watch them, and by watching them, make the decision or see where they are showing you their interests lie. Enthusiasm, which is connected to Human Design Gate 16, is all about our genes being able to mutate or up-level themselves based on what we're enthusiastic about. If someone's enthusiastic about playing the piano, they can easily learn how to play Mozart. You know what I mean? So enthusiasm is so important for learning, and also for like just having special abilities and gifts, and they can be picked up very easily once that enthusiasm is there. Here's my do for education. Do teach your kids Montessori learning practices and set up playtime that is Montessori based. One thing I noticed with my daughter was that she didn't like things that were designed for babies because she knew that she was learning to grow, right? So like giving her baby cutlery to practice with was a great start, because Montessori learning is about like teaching your child like motor skills and things through natural tasks you would do, like cooking, cleaning, etc. But what I've noticed, especially with pottying, she did not like using those baby potties because she knew it wasn't a real toilet. It didn't flush. The first time she opened it, she tried to pour water in it because she was like, why does this fake toilet not have water? So with Montessori learning, it's really teaching a child how to do things the way they would come into doing things. And I do feel like it really helps develop their skills because it makes sense for them. They're like, oh, this is a toilet. You use the toilet. I can use the toilet. So I really recommend the potty stool that is like a ladder that connects to the toilet. I think that's a really great way of getting them to use the potty, but it's also they're using a real toilet. And that's just a side example. I actually probably should link that down below for you as well. Don't stress about becoming an influencer mom. So one thing I will say, especially as a mom who happens to do influencer work, is that it can be really stressful, especially when you love what you do, to want to continue like sharing and posting your life. We are in a very interesting time, and it's really important to find ways to still connect with others, and especially about your journey, because that's important, but also protect your personal privacy and the privacy of your children. And everyone's journey with that is different, so I'm not here to tell you how to go about doing that, but just alleviate the pressure, because I know that sometimes we may want to like connect with all these brands and share all these things, and we're not actually taking into consideration that we are also just coming into this experience, and what's more important than anything besides sharing Amazon links and things is being present with our kids. Here's my do for this, do focus on what you already know and how you can build on that knowledge day by day. Because another thing that happens with new parents is they are victims to consumerism. There's so many companies that know that parents are one of the major spenders and consumers, because new children, new babies need a lot of things to some degree, and it's always trial and error learning what works for them. So like you can try 3 different pamper brands or wipes brands. You're always gonna have to kind of like explore what's out there to know what your kid needs. But within that, sometimes you can end up consuming way more than you need and becoming overwhelmed. So do just focus on what you know, look up things when you need to, but diving into tons and tons of knowledge online could really leave you overwhelmed. And for a while it did that to me, and I had to just take a step back. Now I will talk about cooking. So don't broil food when postpartum or in times of extreme fatigue. Especially if you're a breastfeeding mom, it's really, really important to turn that stove off when you're about to go feed, because sometimes going to feed your child will leave you tired afterwards. You may fall asleep with baby and you don't want your stove on at that time. Also, I would also say don't take on big tasks like cooking Thanksgiving dinner. So my first year no, not my first year, but my second year, after having baby, within that second year, I decided to do Thanksgiving at my house, and a fire ensued. It was a small one. We were able to put it out, but it was also because I was tired, and then I was overwhelmed with hosting people. And instead of just honoring my physical abilities and power at that time, I tried to be a Jill of all trades and do everything and like step into motherhood and like being in these duties, right? And it just wasn't ideal. I needed to rest. I needed someone to cook food for me. And I needed to not be by a stove, apparently. So that is my tip on that. But I will say, as a do cook when others are around or when you have company who is attentive and helpful. I cannot tell you how many times Jack had to turn off the stove while I was in the middle of doing something because I got distracted with Indy at the time. Although I'm so grateful he was there, it was a reminder to me that when I'm cooking, it's better to do it when he's there. There are times I had to cook and he was not there, but I had to be very diligent, and I used my HomePod, Apple HomePod, to set timers. And I would make sure, because sometimes you'll say it, hey Siri, whatever the case is, my Siri came on, she alert. And those timers would not set. So I would not only stop, take a moment of presence, tell what you need to do, and when you do that, wait to hear her respond to you and set that timer. Very, very important. This can save a life, for real. Yes, inviting friends over when you know you're tired and you need to cook. Postpartum, I would recommend using a meal train. Meal train is a website you can use that can have people order through Uber Eats and stuff for you, and the meals come directly to your home. You can also fundraise. So we were able to get like $1,200 in postpartum meals just through family and friends donating to our meal train. So doing so can really help, especially in those first 3 months where you are super, super sleep deprived. And also just physically tired. Like, you shouldn't be standing over a stove. You should be sitting and resting. You really shouldn't be on your legs all that much just because your pelvic floor is healing. Okay, I've covered almost everything. So I have one more. Don't downplay routine. One more don't and do. Don't downplay routine. And this is important because I am at the end of postpartum. I now have a toddler, and routine is still something we're working on. You will go through different routines many times during this period, and that's why it's so important not to downplay it, because that routine is changing constantly with your child's development stages, but also the routine is like the foundation of your household. So if you want to be able to have that autonomy again, want to be able to get sleep, routine, whether it's the sleep routine, whether it's a like cleaning routine, or just time to like think about the mental load of the household, writing those things, planning it out, setting routines is going to be so important. And here's my last do. Do make a routine that works for you and the life you want to create. What you do every day is who you become. And the reason why that's so important is like so many people will push their routine on you. I naturally stay up late. As a kid, I was a night owl. I also follow human design to help understand my daughter's needs as a manifesting generator. So manifesting generators need to burn all their sacral energy before they go to sleep. So in our household, my routine is not forcing her to go to bed at a certain time. Ideally, I do want to make sure around a certain time she's in bed, because she does need vital sleep. But my routine is based on what works for me and my family, and not anybody else's. And part of the motherhood journey is stepping into that personal self-governance and autonomy, and understanding that like You literally are creating the future, and you could do so by not doing what everyone has done, but innovating what has been done. So it's good to look at information, gain wisdom, especially if you have matriarchy in your family, moms, grandmothers, aunts, people who can really give wisdom of nurturing and raising a child. But it's also good to take some of what they say with a grain of salt, especially when you don't see it aligning with the life you want. I'm also a creative and I work a very unique schedule. So I don't work a 9 to 5 that, many parents do. So I can't go by their routine to set the routine for my household. And by understanding this, as I'm still working on it, because especially when you're someone who likes to take in what people are saying, because you do value the opinions of others, you still need to hold your opinion paramount. So I'm still working on holding my opinion paramount, but part of the way I'm able to navigate that is by sharing it here with you guys and also gaining your feedback and experience. And, we can all validate and confirm things for each other. So with that being said, I'm going to end this video and just want to say thank you guys for being along this journey. I hope these tips have helped you and will help you in the future, especially if you're a new mom or pregnant right now. And I wish you all the best with your new family. And make sure that you literally prioritize taking care of yourself and your needs, because your baby needs you, your family needs you, and when you feel safe and emotionally regulated, naturally your child will feel that way as well. Peace. Stay in touch with me on all platforms at With Love Cole, wishing you a beautiful motherhood journey.